TeamViewer's augmented reality solutions. And as a fourth point, we will speak about our customer engagement solution and about TeamViewer web monitoring. So TeamViewer is the leading remote connectivity platform, and yeah, now we have 2.5 billion installations worldwide. We have around 580,000 subscribers, and TeamViewer is used in nearly all countries of the world. We have offices in EMEA, in the USA, and also in APAC. And our, the number of employees have grown to 1,300 in the meantime. And also, of course, we are supporting the software in many, many different languages, and the software is available in over 30. As you can see, TeamViewer is available across all platforms, no matter if your customer would like to use it on Windows, on Mac, on Linux, on Android, on iOS. So basically, there are many, many different possibilities because we have this platform, all these platforms available where TeamViewer can be used. During the last years, we were continuously expanding our use cases. So originally, we started in remote support and remote access, which is, of course, still our core business. However, during the last years, we have of course moved into other areas as well. So, for example, mobile connectivity. We were the first to offer live screen sharing for iOS devices. And of course, also for Android, we have a very broad range of devices we support. Then regarding remote work, that's of course at the moment a very big topic. I will also say a few things afterwards. The shared workspace is of course a topic. Management and monitoring is the area where we have our TeamViewer remote management. Our enterprise software as a service is TeamViewer Tensor. I will speak about that as well. And we have TeamViewer IoT to cover the Internet of Things area. And our augmented reality solutions, they have also, in the meantime, we have basically 3 different augmented reality solutions. We have TeamViewer Pilot. We acquired the company Ubimax last year, which is now, of course, TeamViewer Frontline. And we recently acquired Upskill, which is a US company. So by that, we have a very broad range on augmented reality solutions, and I will show you more in a bit. So partner and platform investments. I'm showing you this because I want to focus on the integration partners here in the middle. Because of course, we at TeamViewer, we know that your customers, they already use a lot of different software, different applications, and therefore we have pre-built integrations which we offer. So for example, if someone is using ServiceNow for their support as a ticket system, then they will get a very, very nice workflow by using our integration for ServiceNow, because then out of ServiceNow, if they have a current issue, a current ticket open, then they can, out of that ticket, initiate the TeamViewer connection without having to change the program, without having to search for whatever details. So this is really really easy, and that's basically the idea for all these integrations. So our most recent integration is the one for Microsoft Teams. And of course, it's the same thought. For example, if you are currently in a conversation, in a chat, and then you would just want to for example, start a TeamViewer Pilot session, then this can be easily done out of Microsoft Teams. We, of course, in the Microsoft area, we also have the integration for Intune and for Microsoft Dynamics 365. So let's go to TeamViewer Core. So I think most of you are familiar with our TeamViewer core licenses, which is Business, Premium, and Corporate. And as there were also some changes recently, I would like to quickly have a look at it. So of course, Business is the single user license. Premium is for for up to 15 users with one session that can be opened at a time. And Corporate is the license for Teams, which includes 30 licensed users, and the basic corporate license includes 3 parallel sessions. So what has changed? We have reintegrated our meeting functionality with which we have with TeamViewer Meeting into our core licenses because the business premium and corporate customers also often have the requirements to organize meetings, and therefore they now also have this functionality included with all the recent updates which came with TeamViewer Meeting. And every of these licenses has 10 meeting participants included. Also something I would like to highlight, because you also see it here at the top, is that Premium has 15 licensed users and Corporate has 30 licensed users. The available add-ons are as follows. Of course, you can add the support for mobile devices. This is added per channel. This is available for all the 3 types of licenses. And now the next important point is the number of add-on channels. So I think in most cases you would add add-on channels to the corporate license, because this is the biggest license for small and mid-sized companies, and you can add up to 7 add-on channels here. This is also, of course, based on our experience, what is needed from the customers. So here you have the 3 channels in the basic corporate, and you can add up to 7 add-on channels. For Premium and for Corporate, there is the new option to add up to 25 remote workers. That, of course, also came out of the COVID-19 situation. So we saw that there is the need also for people who already have a license, or for customers who face the situation to have to work from home. That they would need a certain amount of remote workers. This also takes me to the next slide, where I summarized our remote work options. So we basically have it divided into the company size. So on the right side, you find the remote access license, which is the very small one for 1 remote worker. And this means that 1 person can remotely access up to 3 devices. So very useful for home office. And then in the middle, we have the corporate with remote workers. As I said, you can also have that for Premium. And then on the left side, we have TeamViewer Tensor with remote workers. So this means that the TeamViewer Tensor, so our enterprise solution, can also be individualized for the customer. So that means that if, for example, they have the requirement that 70 people have to work from home, then you would buy a TeamViewer Tensor with a minimum of 5 agents who would manage the license. Of course, that can also be more depending on the use case. And these 70 TeamViewer Tensor remote workers. All right, then I'm going to the next topic, to TeamViewer Meeting. TeamViewer Meeting was formerly called Bliss. Maybe you remember the name. And Bliss was always a solution which was, which was of course developed by TeamViewer. However, we realized that TeamViewer Meeting fits better, as everyone knows the brand TeamViewer. So that's why it was renamed last year. And here you find a few details about it. So of course you can do remote work and collaboration with TeamViewer Meeting. You can hold meetings for education and training. And of course, it's also built for confidential meetings. So you can log meetings, you can add passwords. They are of course also GDPR and HIPAA compliant. And you have a 256-bit end-to-end encrypted video conference. The licensing is also really easy. So you have 3 different types: TeamViewer Meeting 50, TeamViewer Meeting 100, and TeamViewer Meeting Company. And company include, so 50 means that you have 50 participants included, 100 participants. And for TeamViewer Meeting Company, you have 300 participants included. It depends on how many organizers the customer needs. So if, for example, 5 organizers are there, so 5 people potentially need to organize and start meetings, then you would buy 5 times the license type which the customer needs. So then let's have a look at our enterprise solution at TeamViewer Tensor. And as I said, also here, I would like to give a quick overview to the solution. So it's a completely cloud-based smart software as a service architecture. It integrates seamlessly with the corporate security of the customer due to the single sign-on functionality. It includes all types of devices which can be present in a company, also including mobile devices. As you saw, for core licenses, it's an add-on, and for Tensor, it's included. Also, the sessions are, of course, end-to-end encrypted. And you have, in addition, the auditability functionality. So auditability means that you have a detailed logging of every action during a session. So with every action, I mean every action you can trigger through TeamViewer. So for example, if someone records the session, or if someone transfers a file during the session, and these are, of course, actions which could be interesting to also have them documented. You can afterwards see them in the management console in the event log. And in addition, you can also have an event log for changes which happen within the management console. So if, for example, if someone changes a user account, then you would also see that here. Another thing to add regarding TeamViewer Tensor is that we have a user-based model. So it is not channel-based, like you know it maybe from the core licenses, but it's a user-based model. So the benefit for the customer is that every user can use and work independently. So that you don't have to worry about channels anymore because it's user-based. Then conditional access is the next point, because it's a part of TeamViewer Tensor Pro. So basically all the features you just saw, plus this conditional access feature is included in TeamViewer Tensor Pro. Plus I will mention a few new additions after that. So with conditional access, you can have a more granular access right management. So in the beginning, in the management console, you would add all the different rules. So for example, you would say, okay, this person should have access to the following devices in this group. And you would set up all the rules like that on account, device, and group level. It is possible. And then before a connection is established, the rule is verified. And if there is a rule present, then the connection can be established. And all the connections would be handled through a dedicated customer infrastructure. This means that we would provide a dedicated router for the customer where all their solutions run through. And so this is dedicated for this special customer. And conditional access would also make sure that only sessions which are authorized can actually take place, because if you have no rule defined in the beginning for a certain type of connection, for example, for an intern who is just part of the company for a while, then then you also have a good way to only to prevent these unauthorized connections. Okay, so far for the licensing basics. Now I would like to show you some recent additions to the Tensor licensing. There is the mobile software development kit. So imagine that one of your customers, they would like to provide an app to their customers, but and then they want to support this app. So in order to do this, there is the mobile software development kit. So this means that in this case, when the customer wants to have support for the app, it's only possible to connect to the app and nowhere else on the device. So with the normal TeamViewer mobile device support, the supporter has access to the device because he wants to give support. But in this case, it makes sense that only the app is accessible. That only app support can be given because that's what the customer expects. So for example, a help button can be integrated into the app, and then with the help of the SDK, the supporter can connect to the customer's app and support him there. Can be also white labeled, of course, so that it really that is really presented like a part of the customer solution. And this can be added to the TeamViewer Tensor Pro license. So then we have, of course, an improved extensive performance and scalability enhancements. For example, there is now a list available with Tensor for managed devices. So devices which are not only for ad hoc connections, but which are really managed with a certain policy and everything, they will show up in this group then. You also have multi-tenancy support now with Tensor. So if there is a big organization who has several subsidiaries, then this can be easily handled with the multi-tenancy. So all the branches, all the subsidiaries would then just be visible here in the overview and could be easily organized and managed. So the functionality co-browsing and chat, you will hear that as well a little bit later in my presentation. This is something which can also be added to Tensor as a separate add-on. So this can be really helpful for customers who have a web shop or who have anything on their website which can be configured. For example, in the online banking could be that that the customer asks for support, but of course he only wants the agent to see their browser and not the whole screen. So with co-browsing and chat as an addition to Tensor, you can the customer can give his customer the support only to the browser. So only the browser window will be visible to the supporter, and yeah, and all the information are kept private. All the sensitive data, for example, if a password has to be entered on that page, is also not visible. So this helps to have a really nice support experience for the customer, and yeah, to also, of course, support a very nice customer engagement journey. So then I will move to TeamViewer Pilot as one of our augmented reality solutions. So TeamViewer Pilot was already developed a few years ago. However, there are also of course some new features. So just to briefly explain what TeamViewer Pilot does. So on the one side, you have a user who has a certain problem in real life. So this could be that he or she is in front of a printer or in front of a switchboard and doesn't know what to do exactly. It could be even in production. That's a quite common use case that yeah, maintenance for a certain machine is needed, or there's just an error at a machine and it's a bit difficult to say where it comes from. So in these cases, TeamViewer Pilot comes in very handy, because instead of having a phone call and to explain, oh, I don't know if I have to press this button or this button and what is happening here, and you don't really have visibility over the problem. Instead of doing this, you have TeamViewer Pilot. With TeamViewer Pilot, the expert can connect to the mobile phone of the user. The camera screen is then shown. Of course, the user will have to accept first, and then both have the possibility to put live to have a live screen and put markers on it. So for example, the user can explain where the problem is, and the expert can then give him a detailed explanation about what to do. So this means that there is a remote camera sharing and voice over IP included. The highlighting on 3D objects in the room is possible. So even if the mobile device is moved and the user walks around to show another part on the machine, then if he comes back, the arrows will still stay where they were put. So this is really great to show a certain situation, and you can even have text annotations. So if the environment is very loud, if it's a machine or in the production somewhere, then this can be really helpful. You have a session recording, you have file transfer, so if there's any plan which needs to be shared, and there is optical character recognition as well, if there's a long serial number which has to be somehow transferred to the other side. In addition to smartphones, of course, it is also supported for smart glasses and for wearable headsets. And here our partners are Epson, Microsoft, RealWear, and Vuzix. So their devices are supported. And of course, there's a list of the specific models if you would need it. In terms of licensing for TeamViewer Pilot, only the expert side has to have a license. So it's quite convenient, because then it doesn't matter how many endpoints he's connecting to. But if the expert has a license, then yeah, then this works fine. Speaking about augmented reality, I would like to show you also our solution TeamViewer Frontline. And here we have a more, yeah, it's even with more, yeah, enhancements, let's say. So as I said, TeamViewer Frontline is also, of course, the result of the acquisition of Ubimax. So here we have 4 different parts of TeamViewer Frontline. So we have the Xpick, Xmake, and Xinspect, and Xassist. So these solutions are for the entire industrial value chain, for the supply chain management, for picking in warehouses. Our TeamViewer Frontline X-Pick is very helpful because as you can see here, for example, the lady would exactly be instructed on which item to pick. And in the background, of course, in the management area, you can have nice detailed workflows here, which you can set up in the beginning. For Xmake, of course, it would give you a structure for assembling certain things, and this would then be visible in the glasses. So as you can see, all of the people here are wearing smart glasses, of course. So all of these industrial processes are supported by augmented reality. And with X-Inspect, you have the field service. So field service has certain processes they can stick to, which are then visible here, and X-Assist for the remote support. If you have any customer that could be interested in one of these solutions, then feel free to get in contact with Prianto, and then I will also be a point of contact at TeamViewer, or it will be one of my colleagues who can of course give you further information, because TeamViewer Frontline is of course a good solution also for system integrators, or for partners who do some technical integrations usually for the customers. So feel free to reach out to us if you have an interesting customer use case in mind, and then we can together speak about the details. So one of our recent recently acquired products or companies is basically Xaleon. So Xaleon makes the customer company interactions more effortless. And it's basically an engagement platform. So that's why I also said, okay, when I was talking about co-browsing and chat, that you will hear that a bit later as well. And because this is basically the same technology. So here we have a combination of collaboration, communication, operation, investigation, and automation. So again, for example, if someone needs some help with filling out a certain form, or with having a certain process done, then this co-browsing falls into place. And of course, as a first thing, the chat is the first step of interaction, and then this can of course then lead to the co-browsing screen sharing, and then you can even have, so this would be the support use case, and you can even of course have a sales suite, and in the sales suite it would be maybe the other way around. So you can schedule a call, and then during that call, of course, you can go into a co-browsing session. So this solution is basically here to have the whole customer engagement journey from sales through support, and finally also to have some actionable customer insights. So because this is one of our most recent integrations, I'm not sure if you have heard of it already. We also had a partner webinar. However, if it's new to you, but you find it very interesting, then feel free to reach out to Prianto, and then we can all together discuss it, or feel free to reach out to me, and you can get some more insights for your specific customer use case. Then we have TeamViewer Remote Management, which is, of course, part of the TeamViewer product portfolio for a while. Here we have different services which you can add to the TeamViewer management console. So monitoring and asset management is one package. Another package is web monitoring. Endpoint protection is a third package. And then there is also backup. So basically, you or your customer, you can choose what is needed, and then you can pick the respective service. So with monitoring, you can, of course, set up certain checks which should be run automatically. And then in the end, there will be an active alert in case some of the thresholds are met. For example, if a device is not online anymore, or if the CPU is too high, basically. So for these different states, you can get some alerts. And also asset management, of course, helps you with managing all the software and hardware on the devices. And this now also includes patch management, where you can then do active patching. Endpoint protection is, of course, an antivirus solution, and backup helps you to protect the important data against human error or system failure. And then here in the middle, we have web monitoring, which is the latest addition to the remote management area. It was added last year, and it's basically a website performance and end user experience monitoring. So you have also here three different parts. You have the uptime monitor, you have the page load monitor, and the transaction monitor. So uptime monitor is included in the basic package. It's about how long the website takes to respond. Then page load monitor and transaction monitor is included into the advanced package. It's about how long it takes the website to load completely. And with the transaction monitor, it also helps you to see if crucial processes, such as a web shop, work correctly through all the different instances. All right, so this I think this was a lot of information, but I wanted to make sure that you have a really good overview over all the products and the news to these products. So yeah, thanks for your attention, and feel free to ask some questions.
Thank you, Kristina. Much appreciated. We did get some questions in the chat already. So let's start with the first one, which was about the core licenses. Bliss is now TeamViewer Meeting. And there was, I think it was in December, if I remember correct, there were a lot of functionality added to TeamViewer Meeting. Do you know exactly which features were added to Meeting at that time?
In December, we had the reintegration. So maybe that is what this question implies, because we added the functionalities of TeamViewer Meeting, which is a separate product. We added these functionalities into Business Premium and Corporate. Before that, there was a meeting functionality included, but it was, let's say, the old meeting functionality and all the benefits of TeamViewer Meeting, which is, for example, that you can combine voice over IP and phone calls, or that you can have with the company license. I mean, you have all these you have all these functionalities included into the core licenses now. So I think this might be what is meant by the question.
Okay. I think the question was from Paul Janssen. Does that answer your question, Paul?
Okay, great.
Okay, he's typing, so oh yes, it does. So that's great. I also see another question about Tensor, and it is which type of customers are a must-see for Tensor? Is there a certain view on the customer, or?
Yeah, very good question. So Tensor is of course a solution for big companies who also work in different countries, who have different locations. In general, you can start talking about Tensor if if approximately the customer would like to have a solution for starting from 10 agents. So TeamViewer Tensor is usually starting from 5 to 10 agents. And if the requirements are that they want single sign-on, that they want some extended features, like for example the augmented reality, the auditability, and then basically TeamViewer Tensor makes sense. So 5 to 10 agents is the starting point. And of course, it can be a solution for several hundreds of agents. And but I would say from mid-sized to very large enterprises, it's it can be requested.
Okay, and would you know any triggers? So if a customer, what would the customer specify if they don't know they need Tensor yet? What is their problem or their issue that you would solve?
So on the one hand, it's having a certain number of connections. So as I said, for example, the corporate license can have up to 10 simultaneous connections. So if someone wants more than that, that's of course a very important trigger for Tensor. Then also if they are mentioning the features of TeamViewer Tensor, then this would be a trigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And thank you. I saw another question that relates to that a little bit. Is you have the different core licenses, business, premium, and corporate. And I understand there is a new limitation to the number of add-on channels you can add.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. So it was up to 9 add-on channels before, and it was for corporate, it was changed to 7 now.
And premium was +4 or 5, I understood.
Yes, premium
Yes.
was +4. That is the maximum. However, what I would recommend is that premium is normally extended with up to 1 add-on channel, because then the customer would have 2 parallel sessions, and the corporate already offers 3 parallel sessions plus additional features. So that's why, you can extend premium with more than 1 channel, but in most cases, it makes more sense for the customer to pick the corporate plus the additional features.
Okay, thank you. The next question, I have 2 more. Let me start with probably the easier one. Which version of HoloLens is supported by Pilot?
It's the HoloLens 2. This is, so this was also the one which was recently added to our list of supported devices.
Okay, perfect. And then from Marcel, we have a very long question. Let me just read it to you. It says, Tensor has many features included, but most accounts already have solutions in place, like freeware or point solutions that include one or more of the features. Can Tensor replace all or many of those? Is it a one-size-fits-all for management?
TeamViewer Tensor is a platform. So basically, what we would also like to do is, of course, replace as many of the existing solutions a customer has. For example, we will look at the use case of the customer. at a whole. So we will look at the whole scope which the customer has, and then ideally we will offer TeamViewer Tensor plus a certain amount of monitoring and asset management endpoints, for example. Then we will add TeamViewer Pilot if he needs that. And yeah, basically TeamViewer Tensor can be extended with different solutions from our side as well, so that the customer has yeah, an ideal individualized package for himself.
Okay, thank you. These were all the questions that we had in the chat. I didn't see any new ones coming. I'm not sure if anyone wants to unmute and just ask the question. And otherwise, I think we have informed everybody about the changes. We will send out the presentation to the attendees, right? So they can read through it later on as well, and come back to us when they have more questions. I don't see anything new on the chat or not anyone typing right now. So for us, I think it's easiest if you want to reach out to us, you use TeamViewer at Prianto.nl. And then you have a group of people, and depending on the type of questions, the best person will, of course, respond to you as soon as possible. So if there are no other questions, finally, thank you, Kristina. Much appreciated.